What up, awesome people? It's your boy Sekou Andrews. Welcome to my video blog of new money. So I was asked last year to present at a TED conference being put on by Wall Street. Yes, Wall Street. And I, as a poetic voice, got to thinking, how do I want my work to be reflected on the stage of the New York Stock Exchange? I remembered that I had a poem, a hip-hop version of a poem that I did on my last CD, Poetic License, copied on iTunes, Poetic License by Sekou the Misfit. And I thought to myself, that's the perfect opportunity to sort of finish that poem and do the poetry version. So I created the poetry version of that piece called New Money. And the poem is a journey through the process of redefining wealth. You can watch it on my YouTube page, youtube.com/SekouWorld. And this vlog just takes you through the process of creating it, which I call the 5 steps to new money. All right, step 1, money for self, AKA cream. Cash rules everything around me, right? Look, you turn on any TV show, any pop or hip hop song or movies, we are surrounded by images of absurd wealth, right? The wolves of Wall Street. And it's, you know, it drives us. We want money to get a nice car, a nice house, you know, get blinged up. But ultimately it's empty. It feels good. Hey, money feels good. I'm not gonna lie, real talk. But at the end of the day, it's empty because it's really just money for money's sake. It's only enriching ourselves. And it can kind of lead to greed sometimes, which then becomes we're accumulating it to the detriment of others or at the expense of our own integrity, right? So, okay, we move past that to step 2, which I call money for the future, AKA financial literacy. This is the first psychological step in reframing our concept of wealth because it takes us from working hard to working smart, right? We're no longer just accumulating wealth through things like working income, but now we're starting to accumulate wealth through passive income and savings and investments and just delayed gratification, right? And we become more responsible with it. But it's still for self, which is why we need step 3. All right, step 3 is money for the kids. Money for the kids, AKA taking care of family. Now, this is the first step that changes our purpose for making wealth. And I think it's the most critical step because our kids are the first sort of external purpose that we have in gaining wealth. It takes us from wealth for self to wealth for someone else. Right? Parents, right? Parents, you know, I don't have kids myself, but my wife and I are planning to start a family very soon, and I'm already sacrificing for my kids, thinking about their college fund and planning for that now because I've gone through step 2, financial literacy. But parents, you know how it is. You used to get a certain amount of joy from buying a pair of shoes or a new smartphone, and now you get that same joy or a greater joy from sacrificing those shoes for you and getting those shoes that make your kids' face light up. You get enriched by that. That's your own personal wealth, right? So our kids are the first to teach us how to sacrifice for others in a way that doesn't feel separate from ourselves or just altruistic like giving to an organization, right? They are an extension of ourselves. So when they are rich, we are rich, right? And that takes us to step 4. I call that money for the village, AKA taking care of the community. We have all heard the old African proverb, it takes an entire village to raise one child. Right? Which means that you're not just responsible for your own children, but for your brother's kids, you know, and your neighbor's kids and your little raggedy cousins running around all over the place, right? So this step, you begin to see that your responsibility for others extends beyond your own children or your own family to your extended family, however far you extend them to your community. Right? So after just sacrificing to make sure that your kids have their needs met with you know, clothes and education and shelter, you also recognize your ability and your responsibility to help make sure that your community has their needs taken care of with donating clothes or mentoring a student or serving at a shelter, etc., right? And you learn that the more you give, the richer you get. Give more and more, get richer and richer. That leads us to step 5, money for the world, AKA making them global greens. This 5th step is the final extension from your kids to your community to your world, further amplifying that enriching feeling that you get when you offer money, when you give, when you share, when you teach to others, right? So it's about your wealth, and it gives meaning now to your wealth. It actually gives life to your money. There's a great story in the book Today We Are Rich by colleague and author buddy of mine, Tim Sanders. He tells a story about an old woman who loved gardening. She got her own personal joy and wealth from gardening and growing things and bringing them to life. and she would often leave a bouquet of daffodils or shiny red pepper on her neighbor's doorstep, right? And she would say, it wasn't really alive until it was shared. Think about how beautiful that concept is. It wasn't really alive until it was shared, meaning only upon giving and sharing and helping and teaching does our wealth come to life. And this is your own personal daily stock exchange, right? When you redefine wealth in those terms, then you have a whole new reason and a whole new method for getting rich. So basically, as my poem says, it's about the money. It's about the new money. So I invite you to check out my poem, the video of my poem, New Money, on my YouTube page. Please subscribe to my YouTube page, please. Sekou World is the page. And also subscribe to my mailing list at SekouAndrews.com, S-E-K-O-U Andrews.com, and you'll get first glance at all of my stories, all of my business strategies and insights, and some really cool videos. I got some hot stuff coming for you. So subscribe, check it out, and remember, be voiceful.